Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I filmed a video indoors, but don't worry, I have plenty more POV videos already filmed waiting to be released. However, in today's video I want to talk about something which is pretty much unfortunate, but I think 99% of us care about this a whole lot, and that is gear. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed the street photography content that I put out in the last couple of months, because that is something I want to mainly focus on this channel. You probably know that it's very easy to get caught up in this whole gear universe. I'm guilty of doing it myself, but I'm trying to stay away from it. But once in a while, it's nice to have something new to try out and something new to play with. And this is where this puppy here comes into the picture, and the story why it frustrated me a whole lot in the last couple of months. It was really annoying, but more on the main story a little bit later. To give you a little bit more background, as YouTuber, you get approached a whole lot to try out products whatsoever. And sometimes, or once in a while, there's also a lens some manufacturer wants you to try out. But to be honest, most of the time, I'm not really interested, because most of the stuff is totally not related to what I'm doing on this channel. And most lenses, they have a mount for a camera that I'm not using, and also it's a focal length that I don't really like to use. And sometimes they ask you to do a review within 1 or 2 weeks or even less after receiving the product. And to be honest, I want to give a lens or camera whatsoever a proper use and give you my honest opinion about it, and 1 or 2 weeks isn't enough. And that is why I prefer to much rather use my own gear or borrow a lens or a camera from a friend, test out for a while, and then if I feel like it, I do a review or not. But to be honest, once in a while, there's something that I get offered that gets my attention, and I think maybe I should give it a try. And this lens here, for instance, is one of those. It's a 35mm f1.4 from 7 Artisans. I think this lens got released last year or something. I'm not a 35mm shooter, I prefer 28, as you might know. But I thought it could be interesting for some of you, and with an aperture of f1.4, there's a lot of light that gets into the lens, so this could be interesting. So I said, yeah, sure, send it over and I will give it a proper test. Compared to other 35mm lenses for the Leica M mount, it's a fairly chunky lens and it's fairly hefty. Not too bad, it's still okay. So I thought, hey, why not? I will take it on a trip. So I took it to Poland and I filmed an episode with it. And when I got back home, after seeing the scans, I was really frustrated. The images were really soft, even stopped down. That was very unusual, because I've heard that the lens is pretty good. So I asked a friend who also received a copy of the lens, and he told me that his one is really good. So it seemed like I got a lemon. So I wanted to check what's wrong with the lens, so I slapped it onto my Sony with an adapter. And after taking some test shots, I've realized, oh shit, the lens is decentered and it's pretty much unusable, because even at f5.6, it's not really sharp. So the corners and on one side were really, really bad. So the lens pretty much was unusable. That's a little bit weird, to be honest, because if you send out a product to somebody to review it, you will make sure that this person will receive a good copy. I mean, I would do this, but apparently they never checked it. So that's why maybe I just got unlucky, but I got a lemon. What can I do about it? So I've never done a video. They offered me to send me a replacement, but I was too busy, so I refused. I said, so no, I can't, because I was still very disappointed, because I filmed this episode, put a lot of effort into it, and it didn't turn out. Now, you might think, whatever, this can happen. It's just bad luck. Maybe wait until you hear this other story about this other lens that I received. But before we talk about this, a quick word from today's sponsor, which is somebody called The Real Sir Robin and his street photography zines. Those here. I have all of them, and I have to say they're pretty cool. So if you want to check them out, I will put a link below in the video description. Even though I'm not a big fan of 50mm, especially on a Leica M body, I had the chance to try out the Leica Noctilux last year. Maybe you've seen the episode. And I have to say, I really like the look you can get out of it, especially when you shoot it wide open. Sure, it's not ideal for street photography because the lens is really big, heavy, and focusing at 0.95 wide open on the streets is not the easiest. But I think for portraits and stuff like that, this can be a really cool lens, even though, yeah, I know, it's really expensive. That is one reason I accepted this lens when I got this offered. It's the Zongi 50mm f0.95. But there's another one, and this other reason is this lens here. It's the Mitakon 50-095. It's basically the same manufacturer. They rebranded Mitakon. It's now called Zongi, and before was the Mitakon Speedmaster. And I picked this lens up in 2014 for Sony E-mount. And that was pretty much the reason I switched over to Sony, because what you could get out of this lens, it was very affordable. It wasn't the sharpest lens in the world, but at 0.95 it was usable and had character. I really loved the images and the lens flare, and yeah, it's just a great lens. I'm still using it. And since they had a M-mount version for it, I thought, hey, what can possibly go wrong? So let's give it a try, but little did I know. So they sent me over the lens, and to be honest, it feels well made. The focus ring is smooth. The aperture ring is not clicked, it's declicked. But still, I like it has a little bit of resistance to it, so it's actually pretty nice. But there was one issue that popped up. When I put it on my Leica M-mount, I got frame lines for a 35mm lens and not 50. And I tried it out on two different Leica film cameras with the same result. So it was the lens, not the cameras. And maybe one reason was that the lens was an engineering sample. Maybe that was the reason behind it. But still, I shot a test roll, and I did develop the roll, and it turned out that none of the photos were in focus, which is not ideal. So I contacted the manufacturer, and they said, don't worry, we will send you a new copy. And they did. It took only 3 or 4 days until I got the new one. And there was a production copy. And they said, we will make sure it's a good one. We will test it out before, so you will get a good copy. So now I got the second copy of the lens right before my trip to Russia. So I thought, hey, I will take it with me and maybe I can film an episode at night. Might be cool. So did exactly that. I filmed 2 videos in Russia with this lens. And after coming back home, I sent in the film to develop. It was Silbersalz. And I got the scans back. And again, none of the photos were in focus. Again, I was really disappointed. So what I did then, I visited a friend, and my friend has a Leica M10P. So I borrowed his M10P, I slapped the lens on there, and I used the rangefinder and also live view, and it turned out, yes, the lens is not calibrated. The focusing is not spot on. I used the live view to calibrate the lens basically then, and I thought maybe I should give it another try. So my second attempt again took place in Russia, because I went back to Russia and I filmed 2 episodes. This time I was sure, okay, the focus will probably be spot on, so you cannot be sure 100%, but I thought it will be all right. After getting back home, I received the scans, and my first impressions, looks way better. Pretty much most of the photos are in focus. But then I realized that actually the lens is not good. I mean, the photos seem to be in focus, but there's this glow. It's not really sharp. I'm not a pixel peeper, so sharpness is not super important to me, but the lens was really, really bad compared to other ones I had. So I tried it out on my Sony with an adapter, and sure enough, the lens is really, really soft. It's not anywhere close to the old Mitakon that I have, which is way better wide open. It has the same kind of lens flares, which is good, but in terms of sharpness, it's lacking, and it's actually really bad, especially if you consider how big the lens is and how hefty. So you much rather get a 50-1.4, which is like 1/3 of the size and weight, and will give you better results. I contacted the manufacturer again. I told them about the issue, and they said, "Oh, okay, we've heard the same thing from other photographers as well. So it wasn't just my copy, maybe it's just the lens in general. Over the last couple of years, I've tried many lenses from Zeiss, Voigtländer and Leica, and I had no issues whatsoever. But in this case, yeah, 2 times they let me down. I think in general it's good if there's competition, because for us consumers it's perfect because we get more to choose from. Maybe it also helps to keep the prices a little bit lower, but what's the point of having something that doesn't work? Hopefully in the future, maybe they will come out with a second version that will address all these issues, and then maybe it might become a good option. So fingers crossed, hopefully in the future things will get better. But that was kind of a rant right now, but let's try and stay positive. And let's talk about some positive things, because there were also some positive things. One lens that I've tried out, and a lot of you asked me about it. You said, oh, you should try out this lens. It's this one here. It's the Voigtländer 35mm f1.4 for Leica M mount. And as you can see, it's really small. And I shot an episode with it. You will see it in the not so distant future. And I have to say, I like the lens. It doesn't block the viewfinder, it's really small and lightweight, and it has a focusing tab. That's why I would even consider switching my f1.7 Ultra onto this here, because I mean, look at the size and focusing tab. It's very tempting. In terms of sharpness, the Ultron is, of course, it's better, but this is more than sharp enough. So all of you out there looking for a 35mm for Leica M mount, I would suggest getting this lens. For the price, it's pretty amazing. The lens belongs to a friend, but maybe I should ask him if he's willing to sell it to me, because I really enjoy this, and might be something I might pick up in the future, who knows. But one lens that I picked up for myself, and this might come as a surprise for some of you, because it's a lens for an SLR, and I prefer rangefinders, but it's this one here. It's a Pentax lens, and it's the 28mm f2.8, and look how it's really small and lightweight. And if you want to shoot 28mm on film and you don't have a super big budget, get an SLR or a Pentax K-mount SLR with this lens, and you can get both for roughly 100 euros, and it's really good quality. I'm really liking the results I got out of this lens. I filmed an episode with this, but you will see in the not so distant future as well. But since I already got into the Pentax K-mount system, I picked up another lens for K-mount, because I thought maybe for portraits and stuff like that, I should pick up a 50mm, and I picked up this 50mm f1.4. And I have to say, I've shot some portraits on film with this, and it's brilliant. It's really, really good. The image quality is nice, and look at this, look at the coating, and oh my god, this lens. It's a beauty, and it's the focusing ring. It's lovely, it's well dampened, and you can get this lens for way less than 100 euros. Oh, I think it's a bargain. And you can have a setup Pentax K-mount with a 28 and a 51.4 for below 200 bucks. Alright guys, I'm already tired from all this gear talk on my channel. But I think once in a while it's fine to do a video like this. Next one will be out and about doing street photography again. So I would say if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to pick up the Real Sir Robin's street photography magazines. The link will be in the description box down below, and I've heard there's a some sort of discount going on. I think 20% if you use this code here. It's because if you know the Cyber Friday, Monday, Black Monday, Friday, whatever, whatever it's going on right now. So 20% off, check it out, and we will see each other very soon in the next one. Until then, auf Wiedersehen.